Hey, this is Andrew Brown from Exam Pro. In this follow along, we are going to set up a service mesh using Linkerd. Now, I did do this lab ahead of time, but I'm going to tell you that I just couldn't get it 100% working, at least in Cloud 9, because when you wanted to see the Viz dashboard, you have to have an Ingress controller, and that has to run on port 80. And if we are running in a Cloud 9 environment, we can't run on port 80. We're just not allowed to open up on that port. So I mean, we can do it in Cloud 9 and kind of get an incomplete tutorial, but I figured let's try to do it in EC2, and hopefully there we will be able to see the dashboard. Now, if that doesn't work, it's totally fine because we can see everything in the Buoyant dashboard, but we'll give it a go and do our best here. For the KCNA, you're not expected to know how to set up a service mesh, but I just want to go through the motions with it with you so you can kind of see and be able to really understand the purpose of a service mesh. So I'm going to go over to EC2 and instances. We're going to launch a new instance, and it's going to go to the old wizard. We're going to go to the new wizard, even though I don't like it. And we're going to type in here K8 or micro K8 Linkerd. Okay? Linkerd. And we need to choose Ubuntu, and it's going to be on 20, which is totally fine. 64-bit architecture. Here we want to have a T3 medium, or we can have T2, but we'll just do T3 because we've been doing that this entire time. T3 medium. We'll scroll on down here, and we will allow SSH traffic. That's totally fine. We're going to allow HTTP traffic from the internet. That's going to be totally fine. And we're going to want to have 40 gigabytes here, and we'll go to advanced details. And I'm just going to look through here to see if there's anything else we want. I want to set a role, but where the heck did they put it? This is a totally new interface. So I don't know, because I don't want to have a key pair. I'm going to say no key pair here. And what I want to have is attach a role. Where the heck did they put it? I'm looking for IM role. Role. Where are you? AWS is always changing this stuff on me like crazy. Shutdown, stop, terminate, detailed, elastic, credits, capacity. Is it just gone? Hostname. Oh, it's right here. Oh, for frick's sakes. And so we're going to need to create a new IM Pulse profile. Get a new interface. I'm not used to where things are. And I probably already have one for SSM role, but we'll just make a new one. So we'll go here, create a new role, because we want to use Sessions Manager to connect to stuff. And this is new too. They just won't stop changing things on me. So they used to have like nice little icons so you could see what you're looking at. So we are creating an AWS service account. It is for EC2. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? Introducing the new experience. What do you think? It's terrible. Like, no, it's like the drop down is terrible. It used to be very clear what to click. Okay, whoever's doing their designs, I don't know. They got to send back the intern. Okay, because it's you can't even revert to the old experience, and it's weird because it's still like using old elements. But anyway, so what we would need to do is choose the use case for the service. So we are doing the EC2. I guess this is clear. I'm getting confused. We'll go ahead and hit next. And so I want SSM role. So we'll hit SSM, and we are looking for the proper one. I'm just checking here because this one says this is deprecated. Use this one. So that's the real one I want to look for. And that's going to allow us to use Sessions Manager. So we don't have to SSH and do anything super complicated. So I'll just checkbox those there. Where is it? Okay, we'll type in SSM again. It is being super glitchy today. And I want, is it this one? I'm going to double check here. Amazon SSM Manage Instance Core. I'll type core instead. There it is. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hit next. And we'll just say micro K8s Linkerd role SSM, just so we know what it is. Click create role. And there it is. Okay, so we'll go back here, and now we'll type in Linkerd. There it is. And so now we can use Sessions Manager. We'll go ahead and launch this instance. A lot of work. Tons and tons of work to get this going here. And now that that instance is launched, we can go view it. And the experience is not going to be as nice. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be as nice as using Cloud9. But we are going to get through it, and you will learn how to use a virtual machine without a nice environment. So we'll refresh here. Because I'm waiting for these two status checks to pass. We don't necessarily need to wait for it. I'm going to hit connect, and if it works, that's fine. So we see we have 4 options here. EC2 Instance Connect, Sessions Manager, SSH Client, EC2 Serial Console. They just won't stop creating new connection types. We're going to go with Sessions Manager here, which is going to be totally fine. We'll give it a moment here to launch. And hopefully we don't have to specify drivers or anything else with microK8s, but I guess we'll find out here in a moment. So it's connecting. Actually, I was just thinking this is an Ubuntu instance, so I don't even know who I am. So we'll type, who am I? SSM user. Good question. I usually do this with Amazon Linux too. So we'll type in Sessions Manager, Ubuntu user, because I don't know what the user is called. Like, who's the default user? Okay, so AWS, Ubuntu, default user. It says, okay, so for Amazon Linux 2, it's EC2 user and it's Ubuntu. Because we need to be the right user when we do this. It always logs us in as the SSM one, which is silly. We'll type in sudo su hyphen, and then we'll type Ubuntu, and we become the user that we want to be. There we go. We'll type in clear. Notice that this is a lot more limited, and you'll just have to live with it. It's not a big deal. And so what we'll want to do is go install microK8s. And hopefully we don't run into any serious problems, but we'll go here and hit paste. We'll try again, copy, and then paste. There we go, hit enter, and that will install it. Close that off there, and we'll wait a little bit of time here. Shouldn't take too long to install. Actually, while it's going, let's go take a look at Linkerd. So, I mean, there's Istio, there's Linkerd. We're doing Linkerd just because that's what I did the lab with. We could have done Istio, but it's just what it is. So Linkerd is a service mesh. It gives you all this cool functionality on top of it, and it makes it really clear once you start to see the dashboard. So if we type in like Linkerd viz here, I'm just trying to show you what it looks like here. If I can find a screenshot, maybe type dashboard. The idea is once we get it running, we're going to get all this kind of rich information about our network and stuff like that. And that's really useful when you have a lot of pods and you're just trying to figure out what's going on, like where are requests coming from, what's the latency, all sorts of information. That's within Prometheus. Okay, and then there's Buoyant, which we might use here. So let's go back here and see if it's installed. It is installed, so now we'll install Cubectl. And now we will see if our microK8s is running. So we'll say get pod, see if it works. That's okay. We'll type in microK8s in the front of it, and we'll run these lines as per usual as it likes. So it's a bit tricky here, so you might have to right click, go paste. And then we'll grab this here. If the font is too small, I'll try to bump it up here. There we go. And we'll go back here and now we'll type microK8s config, or actually we'll type in Cubectl first. Get pods. We don't expect to find anything. Good. And then from here, we'll type in config, less than arrow, tilde, and then cube config. We'll put sudo in front of that. Oh, it's really not liking it, eh? Permission denied. Okay, well, what if we get the contents of that file? Because that's all we need, really. Kubectl get pods? Nope. Because all that's doing is it's probably piping this information into here. So maybe we can just copy the contents like this. And I'm going to type in vi tilde cube config. It's in vi, so vi every key matters. So hit I to go to insert mode, right click, paste. Okay, and just make sure it's not cut off at the top. I hit escape to go back to visual mode. Notice when I hit I, it goes to insert mode. I hit escape, I'm out of here. And so now what I want you to do is type in :WQ, exit, type clear, then we'll type kubectl, get pods. Okay, so now kubectl is working as expected. So now we'll go and type in micro k8s, DNS, and then Linkerd. Linkerd. And we'll have to type enable in the front there. So that's going to go install a bunch of stuff. It's going to create its own namespaces and stuff. So you can see it's creating service count, config maps, deployments, all sorts of fun stuff. While it's going, let's go look up Linkerd tutorial here. Getting started. I'm just going to see if this is the thing that I use to go through it. Yeah, generally I think. So we'll have to do Linkerd check here. Okay. We'll go back over here. The only unfortunate part is that we don't have multiple tabs, right? So when we're running things here, it's going to be a little bit hard. Hopefully we don't need to have more than one tab for this to work. I'll see you back here when this stops. I don't know if this is just going to happen for a very long time or if it'll finish after a while, but I'll see you back here if and when this is done, okay? All right, welcome back. So it did finish installing, and it installed a lot of stuff, like tons and tons of stuff. Let's just take a look at what we have. So we'll type in kubectl get pods -a. And you can see that we have a Linkerd namespace, a Linkerd viz namespace, identity, destination, proxy injector, Grafana, Prometheus, web, all this sorts of stuff. Just to understand the architecture better, we'll type in Linkerd architecture. I don't know if this is going to help much, but we'll take a look at it anyway, because they have this architectural diagram. So the idea is that it created a control plane and a data plane, right? So, and these are, well, I guess this is your usual stuff, right? This is your stuff, but it created its own control plane in the Linkerd namespace. And here it has an identity, a destination, proxy, stuff like that. But what we'll need to do is we will need to run a program and then inject the sidecar into the pod so that Linkerd can monitor it. And we could be using our deployment YAML file with our Sinatra app, but because we're in this very constrained environment, we'll just use the one that they have. Okay, so they have one here for emoji Voto. And so we'll go ahead and copy this one. And so it looks like they have their own YAML file. So we'll go ahead here back to Sessions Manager, and we will go and paste this in below and hit enter. And it looks like we have an app deployed. So then we will go back over to here. And then it says, oh, we have port forward. So we can do some port forwarding here to this. Unable to port for it because it's not running. So I guess we're waiting for the pods to run. So we'll go back here to pods. Maybe to deploy. Maybe it's still deploying. Did this deploy in a particular namespace? I'm just going to double check. Yeah, it does have its own namespace. So we'll go here and then say n emoji photo. And they're ready now. So we'll go back here and we'll do some port forwarding. Okay, so that's on port 8080. Oh, sorry. So, yeah, I think it's forwarding to port 8080, which is totally fine. I don't know if we need to. Yeah, it's going from 127.0 to 0.0, like anywhere. Do we need port forwarding? I guess we do. I'm going to double check here. What did it create? Because we don't have an Ingress controller, so it must be internal. It's probably not exposed in any way. So we'll go back to our instances, and from here we need to find our IP address. Everything's kind of big because I expanded it for this page here, so it's going to keep bumping down like that. We'll go in here, we'll grab our public IP address, and we'll paste this in here. And it shouldn't work because we need to open up that security group. So we'll go here to our security groups, and we'll go to security groups again. And we'll edit the inbound rules, and we will open up port 8080. So we'll say all TCP, custom, or actually not all TCP. Yeah, we'll do it for us because I don't care. I don't want to have to open all the individual ports. Let's say Andrew's computer. That's our IP address, so no one else can see it. And now when we go here to port 8080, we should see their app. Give it a moment here. I think it's just loading. I think it is working. If it's not, we'll do http://. Sometimes the protocol matters. Says it should work. My thought is that it's not binding to the address. It's on localhost. I'm going to bump this up here. So we have port forwarding here, but it's not creating a proxy per se. I'm going to look at how we did this earlier, because we obviously did it earlier in our like Minikube and Cubectl stuff. I just don't remember how we did it. So just give me a moment here. You know what? Yeah, we need to bind on the address. So it's address, and then we'll say 0.0.0.0. Okay, and then we'll go back here, hit enter. Cool, we can vote for emojis. I always use upside down, and it isn't an option, so I guess that's how it is. We'll view the leaderboard. Cool, that's a nice little app they have there. All right, so our app is running, and we will go back over to Linkerd. And if you click around, you might notice that it's a bit broken. For example, if you try to vote for donut, you'll get a 404. Sure, let's give it a go. Where's the donut? Let's try taco. Nope, that's fine. Vote on your favorite donut. 404. Okay. So we get a 404 there. These errors are intentional, so we can identify the problem. So with emoji installed running, we need to add a mesh to it. So we are basically injecting it. So when it says Cubectl get emoji deploy, it's going to then do Linkerd inject. And so Linkerd inject is going to inject that data into there. So this is what's going to install it, like the sidecar, so that we can track it. Okay, so we'll go back here. I'm going to kill this. We'll paste that. Oops, we'll paste that in there. Hit enter. Command not found Linkerd. I think it's because we'll have to do micro K8s like this. Micro K8s. Hit enter. There we go. So now it's been injected. So technically Linkerd should be tracking it. It explains it. That's totally fine. And so then congratulations, you now add a Linkerd. Just as the control plane, it's possible to verify everything is working the way it should. Check your data plane with Linkerd. Proxy check. So we'll copy that line. We'll go back here, paste it on in, hit enter. We'll have to do micro K8s in front of it. We're getting a bunch of checkboxes. So I'm assuming, yeah, we're waiting for the data plane to be good. Says everything is a-okay, so it looks like it's been installed properly. I'm kind of curious if we take a look at, we say the pods. So we say Cubectl get pods, and what's the thing called? Emoji vote. We'll do Cubectl get ns. It's actually emoji voto. And then I just want to take a look at, yeah, because all of these have been injected, right? So I'm just curious if we'd see anything in the describe. I don't think we will, but just for sanity. I'm just going to check. Okay, describe pod. Paste the pod name in here. Pods. Well, the pod is right there, so I'm not sure what it's talking about. Did I make a mistake? Emoji? No, it looks right. All right, well, whatever. Oh, you know what? It's because we need the namespace. Emoji, Vodo. There we go. I'm just trying to see if like we can see anything, because the idea with like Linkerd is that it shouldn't touch the code or anything here, but we are seeing stuff in here, so we can see things like Linkerd proxy. So there's some volumes that are mounted to our thing, and then there's a bunch of this stuff. So Linkerd proxy. So yeah, I guess you can see stuff. So I just wanted to see if that was the case. We'll go back over to here and we'll explore Linkerd. So we want to install a viz, and so viz is an extension that allows us to see metrics. So we'll go here and install that. All Linkerd install is doing, if you do viz install, what it will do is output. I'll just run it without the other one just so you can see what it does. So we'll paste that in there, paste micro K8s, and all it's going to do is print out code. So this is actually what it's going to run. So when you see it piping here, it's actually going to do an apply by taking that content. So go back here, paste the full line in here and run it. We have to put micro K8s S in the front here every single time. And so now it is installed viz metrics. And then down below here it says to install Buoyant. And so we don't have to install Buoyant right away because that is a third-party cloud services. This is them being tricky to try to get you to sign up for services. So Buoyant is a cloud provider that tracks a bunch of stuff, and it's optional. And I might do it in this tutorial here, but I just like the fact that they did that without telling us what was going on here. But now that we have that running, we want to be able to see the dashboard. So I'm just looking up how do we do that to actually visualize that dashboard here. I'm just looking at my instructions when I was going through it. We type in micro K8s Linkerd viz dashboard. Okay, and so now we have the dashboard running on port 50750. It's not bound to address 0.0.0.0, so I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll give it a go anyway. And I think that's where I ran into an issue where I needed an Ingress controller so that we could actually see it. I'm just trying to find where, yeah, here we are. So if we do this, notice that it's not resolving, right? So the problem is that we are running the dashboard, but the dashboard needs to be exposed somehow. And so I think the way I did it was setting up an ingress. So we'll type in expose viz dashboard Linkerd. This is the part that I was saying that I wasn't sure if I'd be able to show you. Because I literally didn't test this in the EC2. I just said, hey, let's do this tutorial. Okay. And so here they're saying, like, instead of using Linkerd viz dashboard every time you'd like to see the dashboard, make an Ingress controller. But we need one because we need to run it on port 80 for it to work. Because I Googled as well, like other stuff, and it says, like, if you expose it on an Ingress controller, it's on port 80, it'll mess up. You can't set an Ingress controller anything besides HTTP and HTTPS, which is 80 and 443, and that's where we ran into an issue. So down below here it says Nginx. That's what we were using before, so we probably should just use it. And I guess what we'll do is we'll do what we did before, which is enable the Ingress controller from our Ingress tutorial. So we're going to leverage that knowledge. I'm just trying to find where we are here. So I'm going to type in micro K8s status. And we are going to need Ingress. So we'll go up here and type in micro K8s Ingress. Notice it has like traffic Ingress controller. I don't know how to use that one, and I only know how to use the Nginx 1, so I don't want to learn something new right now. So we'll go back up here and type in enable. And while that's going on, I'm going to go take a look at our Ingress tutorial to try to get a refresher here on how do we set this stuff up. So yeah, we install Ingress. Oh, it already does Nginx. So it is installing Nginx. And so I guess all we need to do is now create an Ingress YAML file. So what we'll do here is, it's kind of a pain to write it out. So what I'm going to do is go over here back to our Cloud9 environment, because we should still have that file in our microKS environment. Just going to go Control-0 to go back to normal size here, and we'll launch this here, and we'll go grab that and then tweak it, just so that it's a bit easier. And so, I mean, we probably could use the one that they have here, but I just don't know about it. I guess we could try. It also needs a password so that it authenticates it, passes it to basic auth. It's also using secret. I don't think we need to enable that. I don't think we need RBAC. This says it's on port 8084. The dashboard. I think this is fine. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and copy the contents here. I know we're launching this, but if we'll try to give this a go first. So I'm just double checking here. The host, does the host name matter? This exposes the dashboard, dashboardexample.com, and protects it with basic auth. I don't know if we need to have a host name, so we'll just say Cubectl, or sorry, Linkerd expose dashboard Stack Overflow, because I feel like we might see an example that's not using that. Because this person probably wanted to do it on a particular port, and see they're using the same code here. Notice that they took out host name because we don't want to have that host name. And they say it's never going to be a path like that. It needs to serve on the root of the URL, so change the root here. And so that's what I remember I was reading here. This is correct. I've only added using the rewrite target there. So looking at this one here, I'm going to go copy this content. We're going to go over to our microKS environment. I'm just going to make a new one here, new file called Linkerd. Ingress YAML. If this doesn't work, it's totally fine, but I just want to try if we can. And so I'm just going to see what they did. We can put anything we want in here. I think that's what it'll take. And so I don't see the annotation on this. Oh, I guess this is the secret. So it'd be down below here. Oh yeah, so Nginx. We've got a bunch of headers here. This looks fine, I guess. 8084, that's totally fine. So I think what it's saying is you can't do this. You can't have Linkerd on that. So I'm going to delete that out of there. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy all this here. I'm going to right-click copy. Go back to our environment here. I'm going to bump up the font. I'm just doing Control+ to do that. And I'm going to touch a new file called ingress.yaml. And I'm going to do vi ingress.yaml. And this is Vim, so remember every key matters. So hit I, and then right-click paste, and then just hit escape. And then what I'm doing is I'm hitting K on my keyboard. K goes up, so hit K all the way up. I'm making sure nothing's cut off, and then hit J all the way down, J, 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 J. And that looks fine, so I'll do :WQ, write and quit. And so I have this Ingress file. And so I'm going to try and deploy this. So we'll say Cubectl apply -f ingress YAML. And it says no matches for kind ingress in version beta 1. So I'm going to hit up again. We'll hit vi ingress YAML. And then we'll hit K to go all the way up. Down. We'll hit J to go down. Okay. I'm trying to get to this beta. So if I hit H and L, H moves me left, L moves me right. I'm sorry for all the Vim stuff. And so what I want you to do is move over to the V using the L button, and then hit C for change, and then W for word. And now it's in insert mode, okay? So now the keyboard acts like a normal keyboard, and we're going to type V1, okay? Because that code is just old, and hit escape, and then :WQ. All right, and then we'll hit up again, and then we'll try to apply the ingress controller. So it says no match ingress type. So I'll go over, oh, you know what? It's even more wrong than I think it is. We go hit up here again. Sorry for more vi. So we'll hit H to go to the left, all the way to extensions, and hit CW when you're on the E. C for change, W for the word. Notice that it's in insert mode, so now we're typing normally, and it's actually networking.k8s.io. And then hit escape, and then :WQ, hit up. We'll try to apply it again. Oh, it just doesn't want to work. Okay, so error validating ingress YAML. Validation unknown field service port in IOK8's API networking. If you choose to ignore these errors, turn validation off. I think the reason why is the syntax change as well. So hit up again. I'm so sorry for this. And then hit J to go down, 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 down. And this syntax has changed. So instead of it being service name backend like this, it's actually, if you go over here to the colon, or sorry, go to this line here and hit, or actually go to this line here to sorry, the backend here, colon, and hit O. Okay, it inserts mode, goes to the next line, and then hit escape, and then hit I, and then hit tab to indent, and then tab again. It's not indenting right, so I'll hit I, and I'll just backspace till we're in the right place, and we'll type in service, escape. We'll hit J to go down, DD, okay, and then hit enter, or sorry, O, sorry, I, okay, indent. I know this is a big old mess. Name. You know what? I'm going to make it easy for you. I'm just going to hit :WQ, quit here. I'm going to remove this ingress file. We're going to just make a new one. We'll just do it over here because I don't mean to give you all this Vim nonsense. And I'm just trying to get back to normal size. I got to go back to this tab here, Control O. You can't do it over here. And so the problem here is this is just all old. So this should be, we'll open up our other one as a comparison here. You can tell how tired I am because this is so darn complicated. We'll go copy. Again, if you just want to watch, you can just watch me do this. All it's important is that you see how it works. So the back end here should be service, and this should be port. Okay, and so we'll copy the contents there. Go back over to our virtual machine. I'm going to bump up the font because it's too darn small. It's not letting me bump it up. Here we go. Oh, hit plus. That's why. And I went too large now. Okay, there we go. And so we'll take touch, ingress, YAML, vi, ingress, YAML, I to go insert mode, right click paste so we don't have any mistakes, hit escape, go :WQ, right to quit. And then we will hit up to try to run this again. And hopefully we have all the right syntax. We still have a darn error. Okay, so unknown field port for ingress backend. Oh, I made a mistake. Remove ingress YAML. We'll go back over here. We'll return to normal size. I got to go off to another screen because it can't do Control-0 there. Go to the bottom here. And what I forgot to do was do number. This is on spaces 4. We need this on spaces 2. This should be number like this, indent. And that is the right syntax. So we'll go ahead, copy this again. Touch, ingress, YAML. We have to spell that correctly. I'll bump up the font so you can see what I'm doing. And we will do vi, ingress again. We'll hit I to go insert mode, right click paste, hit escape, :WQ, right quit, hit up. Okay, looks a bit better. So error validating ingress validation data. Unknown field port for ingress backend. What are they talking about? It definitely is a thing. So go back over here. And we'll just take a look at this. Backend, service, port. Port definitely exists. For sure. I know that it definitely exists. Is there something else that I'm doing that's wrong here? I'm just going to keep looking. It looks right to me. I'm just reading it here. Invalid type got string expected map. Oh, I know what it is. If it's a map, it's expecting... Well, that's kind of confusing. I mean, I guess you could do this, because that would be a map, right? Let's just see what we do. Ingress, Kubernetes. Just see if we can see an example there. No, we are doing it correctly. Everything looks fine. I'll be back in a moment here and I'll come back with the answer, okay? All right, so it looks like we've hit a dead end. So I tried launching Linkerd in the background and doing port forwarding. So by that, I mean like I did an ampersand on the end here. And so now it's running in the background and I don't know how to shut it off. And I could run it on another port. And I tried also an address. So I ran on an address and you can do that, but then it said, hey, you have to do DNS binding. And it's just like almost impossible. So I think for the scope of this, we don't really need to do more. I could show you Buoyant, but I just don't care about Buoyant Cloud. I'm not here to try to sell third-party provider. But let's just take a look at Linkerd, Viz dashboard, and just so we can kind of maybe see what it's supposed to do. But holy smokes, it is super hard to get that set up. And it's just because, you know, we don't have in the community that content that's just like available to copy paste in there. I'd have to spend hours to figure that out or stuff like that. But anyway, for the KCNA, totally out of scope. But I just wanted to show you that like the idea is that if we were there, we would see our Grafana dashboard that's powered by Prometheus, and we get all these fun, cool graphs. Okay. So, you know, hopefully we'll have an opportunity to look at Prometheus if I figure it out. If we attempt the managed service, it might be a bit easier. But yeah, that is Linkerd, at least service mesh, how you set it up with micro K8s, with the exception of not being able to solve that last part there. But again, not super important for the KCNA, just going through the motions to see the components, okay? Also, I guess we should shut down that environment so you're not spending money. So go over to EC2, and this one's a bit easier. We're just going to terminate that one. So we'll go over there, and we'll look for our micro 8 K8 Linkerd, and we will terminate that, okay? So there we go.